Good morning, Tigers. Welcome to Jtnn Live. I'm Noah Armenia.
And I'm Miles Amadronis. Today is a Day 3, Order 1.
Coming up on today's show, we'll look at the upcoming baseball season.
But first, let's check out Hunter Gervais' review of Rogue One.
Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, is the most recent installment in the Star Wars franchise. The movie was directed by Gareth Edwards and was released December 16, 2016. Since its release, it has grossed over $916 million worldwide, making it the fifth highest grossing film of 2016. In comparison, Star Wars Force Awakens grossed $2 billion worldwide. This, to me, is ridiculous, but let me explain why. Let me just start off by saying Rogue One is easily one of the best movies I've watched to date. I thoroughly enjoyed the entire movie. I have few gripes with it. A lot of it's very nitpicky, but to some fans or some people that want to go see the movie, it might be a bigger deal. So let's dive right into it. We'll start off with the good sides of the movie and things I've enjoyed, and then we'll dive into what I didn't like so much about the movie. Starting off with the pros, one of the big selling points of this movie was its darker tone. A lot of people went into this movie expecting something similar to A New Hope or The Empire Strikes Back or Revenge of the Sith, something in that sense, but it's not that. It's a very dark movie with a very dark undertone, and I thoroughly enjoyed it for that. Without giving away any spoilers, I'll try to explain this as best as I can. So the rebellion in the movie, first off, is tasked with an impossible mission that no one should ever be able to complete, and that gives it the dark undertone just right off the bat. But when it really sells it is early on in the movie, there's a point where one of the main characters kills somebody that you wouldn't expect him to kill, just without any hesitation, without any remorse. He just kills him. And this shows a darker side to the rebellion, that it isn't all goody good, and sometimes you have to do things you normally wouldn't in order to succeed. And I think that's a really strong selling point of this movie. Another thing that I actually really enjoyed with the movie that other people might not have liked so much is the introduction of a new cast with extremely minimal, no spoilers, extremely minimal character reintroduction, like characters from A New Hope. The movie gave us an entire new cast consisting of Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, Donnie Yen, and Forrest Whitaker, and so many other good actors that maybe aren't huge name big actors, but are good at their job and they know how to act, and they fit the movie very well. If the directors of Rogue One had decided to reintroduce a lot of the old characters, I think it would have dragged the movie down, because it just would have been another rehashing, as the fans call it, another rehashing of the original trilogy, which it wasn't. But not only because of the new cast, also because of the darker undertone. And I think that really helped to sell this movie. One of the major gripes a lot of people have with this movie is the CGI characters. Now, this is a controversial topic for me, because I enjoyed the CGI characters, but morally it just didn't feel right. They used a character that's been dead for some 30 odd years, and he looked good. I'm not going to name who it was, because some people might not have even spotted that the character was CGI, because it was that good. It's very clear they put a ton of time into the CGI in the movie to make it look as realistic as possible, and I think they did a really good job of it. However, I just don't know how I feel about movies using dead people in order to propel a story. That's about it though. However, I have a lot of gripes with what some of the negative critics have been saying. Several critics have said that the movie is too serious and doesn't keep the tone of a Star Wars movie, yet that's what sets this apart from the 7 other Star Wars movies that have kept the same feeling going and the same not as serious tone. This movie is a complete change from what Star Wars usually does, and it is amazing doing it. And then people complain that it's the fact that it's a war movie, yet that's the whole point of the movie, is that it's a war movie. It's not following your usual story. It's giving you a boots on the ground look at the world of Star Wars, and that's just amazing. That's something we've never seen before from a Star Wars movie. Maybe we've seen it from games that have been branded Star Wars, but we've never seen it from an outside perspective like this before, and I think that really helps set this movie apart from the rest of the films. Overall, I'd say that Rogue One: A Star Wars Story is easily one of the better made Star Wars movies. I'd highly recommend anybody see it.
Thanks, Hunter. Now let's take a look at my baseball season preview.
Usually the practices will be 2.5, 3 hours. We start warming up around 4, and then we get into drill work and stuff like that at about 4:30. And then usually after that we'll hit BP on the field. Depending on whether or not we have a game the next day or not, or if we had workouts that morning, we'll go 2.5, 3 hours, usually a typical day. Typically, on a game day, the team will go and have pregame meal after school, just like every other sports team. Then we'll get all our stuff and head over to the locker room and try and be out on the field for BP around 4:15ish. Then we'll have BP. Everybody will get to hit live pitching, and then everybody head back into the locker room after we get the field cleaned up and all ready to go for the game. And we'll get changed for the game and get our uniforms on, that kind of thing. And everybody will get their tape done or get any icy hot or that kind of thing if they need it before. And then we'll go stretch and get after it out on the field.
After the recent state championship win in 2014, the baseball team looks to take another one. Although the season hasn't officially begun, conditioning has.
Practice it varies obviously from day to day, but always, we start with stretch and throw, and we always do some sort of individual defense, where the infielders are working with infield coaches, outfielders with outfield coaches, pitchers with the pitching coaches, catchers with the catching coach, and kind of making sure they get that individual instruction. And then a team defense, depending on who we're playing next or who we may be seeing or what we need to work on. Could be bump plays, could be first and third defense, game situations, just kind of depends. And then we hit. Obviously, we hit every day. I'm a big believer in hitting every day. We hit on the field every day, and I think it's important for us as a program, because that's kind of the area where we've struggled a little bit in the past, or we need to continue to get better at it and keep swinging the bat. So we got to do that every day. Schedule is really good. Really tough schedule this year. Obviously, we got big district games with Robinson and Jefferson. We have 2 games, obviously, with Tampa Catholic. So those are obviously always big. And then, kind of the rivalries that we've had over the last few years. Venice comes here. We go down to Sarasota. IMG comes here. Those are always really good games. And then we're back in the Saladino tournament for spring break. And we're looking forward to that because gives us a chance to play some of the other public schools around the area that we don't see, other than outside of our district games. So, it's a tough schedule, but I think it's something that's going to prepare us to make a deep run come playoff time.
That's all for today's show.
Have a great week.
Sent from my iPad.
Yo, Jay, hit it. Let's go.
This speech is my recital. I think it's very vital to rock around. That's right.
On time. It's tricky. It's tight. Here we go.